Good morning. Thank you for joining us today on the Off the Scale Unfiltered podcast with Shauna and Bridget. So, obviously, the podcast is about maintenance, and it's a weird place to be. And I think that so many people that get to this phase feel like they got to keep going. I know Brian is really struggling because he keeps expecting these giant changes at this point. And I said, you're not, your scale is, you're riding it perfectly. So whatever you're eating and whatever you're burning is a nice balance, which I must say his Fitbit is lying to him, or he's eating more calories and not tracking every single thing, because which would be weird
Been
for
there, done
him.
that.
Yeah, it's because he's supposedly burning like 3,300 calories a day, and if he gets in 2,500, he's lucky. So I don't know. I don't know on that. At any rate, but we're there, right? So we're in this maintenance phase, and maybe we're doing some recomp and trying to build some more muscle, but it is a very weird place to be when you don't have that large weight loss goal. When I signed up for this new tracking app that's called the Food Chef, and it asked me how much weight I wanted to lose, and I put 5 pounds, like, with a question mark, and honestly, it's kind of like I really wish you could spot reduce, because I still have a little bit, like, there
We
that
all get that.
that
It's
we
there.
all get that, I know, but
But
that's
then, like, you
tense.
straighten
I'm
then you
I'm
tighten it up, and it's like,
I
"Oh, it's not
am.
there anymore."
That's tight, so I do have a little bit in my arm. I have some through the hips and thighs. I have a little bit left on my thighs that would be nice to see that go. I think 5 pounds would do that, but I'm not freaking if I don't lose 5 pounds, and I keep changing my body place to be, to try not to become so obsessed about the scale number.
The scale.
When you're a child of the '80s and '90s, it's very difficult to break that need or
Yeah.
want to see that number. Anyway.
Well, and plus with all the skinny talk coming back and everything, everybody going fucking rail thin, and it's just like, I never liked the look, you know,
Mm.
the waif look and everything like that, so it's just like, that was never gonna be me, and I never knew how to even I don't fuck that
No, I
shit.
get it. Even so, when I was younger and had my first little gym at the house, I had a picture of Madonna and a picture of Linda Hamilton. Those are my, from Terminator 2, and those are my 2 images. So I've always wanted to have that more leaned out muscular definition look. I've wanted to
Right,
have
leaned out
that.
muscular is one thing, but not the rail.
No, God, no.
No,
No, I wanna see
which is
muscle.
what's
I
very
don't.
popular now, you know? So, I don't know, like, I definitely agree with you. Maintenance is a weird place to be because your body changes when the scale doesn't. How about that? The body
Mhm.
changes, and maybe not necessarily for the good either, because if you are actually watching your macros and watching what you eat, your body composition will change. And it's the weirdest thing. So it can either go to the good side, which is like getting more muscle, looking more, having more definition, or it can go to the focaccia side, I like to call it, where, your belly starts getting a little bit softer and, things start hanging a little differently because maybe you're not working out as hard as you were, or maybe you skipped a week or two because you feel like you're coasting and stuff. So basically, last weekend, my daughter was had her birthday. We went out to dinner. I didn't track that day at all. Went back to it on Sunday. But then on Monday, my scale shot up to 5 pounds. The thing that pisses me off about Macro Factor, and I'm fucking calling them out on this shit because I tried posting it 3 times to ask the question and they denied my Facebook post, was that even though I've been holding steady, they shot my expenditure down and it continued to tank all week. Even though I didn't log one day. It goes off of, what I log, obviously, in my average and the average of my weight. So now I stop feeding it my weight again. And this is what I had to do back in 2024. I started feeding it certain weight. And yes, I'm playing with the fucking numbers. I don't give a shit. So if I continue to play with the numbers and I don't give it its extreme highs and lows, because that's what women do, is you get highs and lows, especially if you're still holding on to fat mass and everything, because your fat cells don't disappear once you lose fat. They just shrink and they shrivel up. Right. So, yes, when you eat something maybe a little bit over maintenance or whatnot, or if you have more carbs, then yeah, your scale's going to fucking jump up and it's temporary. So,
Mhm.
That's my little fucking thing about macro factor. I love all the graphs and all that other shit, but now if I have to play with the fucking numbers, are you really coaching me? And then like that's the other point. Like if you see I'm eating on an average of 1,850 calories, yet I'm maintaining, why are you dropping my calories?
Right.
Just say, bitch, fucking eat what you're supposed to be eating. Like,
Yeah.
I'm okay.
And the
I'm a big
fact
girl.
that they won't answer you and they keep deleting your question speaks volumes about the company as a whole. What the heck?
Yeah, it's just like, why are you deleting it? Like, I don't know if it's because this question's been answered or whatever, but it's like, it's not. It's not answered. I've asked this many times. I've logged everything. And it's
Right.
just like, just because of one day, that should throw it off? I don't
Right.
think so.
Right.
Like, and the 5 pounds is basically that's all the food still in your system.
Yep. You need
That's
to
all the
poop,
water weight bit from the
salt.
carbs and stuff like that.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah. So that's my little shit. So
Yeah.
maintenance
Yeah.
is all about those ups and downs, right? Like you're never going to stay 150 straight for the rest of
Right.
your life. That's
Yeah.
impossible, you know?
Right.
If anything, like what you're doing now, like even though like you had like a scale victory, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, I saw a number, right?
Yeah.
But then also on the other token, you're like, I want to see more muscle definition. So there's going to get to that point of where you can't care so much about the number on the
I
scale because
know.
it might not necessarily go down, right?
I know, it's so crazy. Well, I talk about this when I'm trying to explain because people will say, "I'm trading muscle for fat." I'm like, "It doesn't work like that." So I tell them, when you think about muscle versus fat, think about a popcorn kernel. The unpopped kernel is muscle, so it feels heavier, it feels more dense, but then it pops and it takes up more space and it feels like, lighter, but it's not.
So
You
is
know
that
what I
like the
mean?
glycogen?
What's that?
Is that like the
No, just
so you
thinking
talk about
not glycogen, but just thinking about in terms of space, right? Thinking about
okay,
the scale being the same, but somebody looking different. It's like, okay, but
I
now
like
you're
that.
the unpopped kernel instead of the popped kernel. You
Mhm.
weigh the same, but you're not taking your body isn't taking up so much space. You know what I mean? With the fat.
Okay.
So it's,
Yes.
just trying to explain why the scale doesn't necessarily move to people who don't want to get down into the weeds. I'm like, you're an unpopped kernel. Now you're an unpopped kernel, right? Instead of the popped kernel. You're not
I like it.
you're not as
Right.
fluffy as you were.
You're not as
You're
focaccia.
taking up less space, but it weighs the same. So, but it's
You're less
hard.
focaccia.
Yeah, and it's difficult to even me preaching it and living it. I mean, my every day, literally every day. So people, it can happen. I'm jumping. I sent a picture to Shauna. She's not allowed to post it. We have to wait until the end of the challenge, then
I
she can
know.
post a before and after. But in 18 months, I have dramatically changed my body. Now, if you would have told me 18 months ago, it's going to take you 18 months, I'd have been pissed, but 18 months just flew by.
I was
And
gonna say, like, what was 18 months?
Yeah,
You sitting around saying, "I don't wanna do this, that, and the other thing," or
yes, yeah,
you actually doing the thing
right. I mean, what
and
do you have to
getting fucking
lose
results.
other than fat and gain
Yeah,
some muscle? What do you have to lose
exactly.
by going ahead and starting to go for your health and wellness and physical goals? There's literally nothing to lose. So going back to what we've been talking about the last couple weeks with how we've all done it. And again, I've done it. I've done it. This is my first time not doing it in a long time. You just give up. And I don't feel like doing it anymore. I'll do it tomorrow or I'll start next week or I don't have time. That drove me nuts during COVID because that's when everybody had time and people still
All the
they
time in the
got
world.
fatter,
Yes. Or
but
drink more.
drank a
Hi, that
lot
was me.
more. Yeah, so I wish I could go back to tell myself that this would be where I would be. I wish I could go back to myself 3 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. And honestly, the only 2 changes that have made this time different is Brian being on board. I hate to say that that's such a key thing, but it really, really is. And that freaking picture. That picture made all the difference in the world because I could see it.
That's awesome.
I could
Yeah,
I
but,
could
like,
visualize.
you were doing it before the picture, but then maybe because yeah, because like, when did you join the challenges? Like, in
Well,
23?
so, I mean, I've been doing the challenges since 22, I think it was 22 that I did the first one.
But then, like, you would gain it back in
And then
between
I'd
and
every time, and then I
every
don't feel
time, yeah.
like it." We'd go back to drinking and eating the way that but then Brian
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah,
on board. Brian just got on board in 25, January of 25. So
right.
him being on board, just that's been a huge difference, and yes, so I'm looking at last year and I'm going, "Okay, so in I think it was May or June, I had the German Shepherd attack." So
Yeah,
that freaked me out, but did it stop me from using my arms? No, but did I let it? Yes, and then in August, I sprained my ankle really bad, and then did that stop me from using my arms? No, but did I let it? Yes. So I think I was listening to some of our older podcasts, and it was October, and it was the end of October, and Brian and I were just getting back into, like, a more consistent workout regimen in October of this last year. So honestly, I let several months go by. I think I got so we did the January challenge. Brian and I kept going through the break. Then we did the summer challenge. I got down to 134, but I didn't have the muscle I have right now at all. At all. So that was pretty much just nutrition and being consistent with some sort of, exercise regimen. But this go around, this is where the strength training has taken over. Not so worried about the cardio, getting my steps in, but I'm not thinking about cardio exercise.
right.
It's all strength and it's very consistent, and we're working out 4 days a week, strength training, maybe 5 sometimes. So
That's awesome.
that's the change. It's the strength training, period.
It always is. Like,
Yeah,
I had, people over last night, and she was very adamant of, I can't exercise and all this other stuff. And I'm like, obviously, know your audience, right? If they're not ready to hear it yet, there's nothing you're gonna say that's gonna be like this.
yeah,
They have to be in that mindset of, okay, I want to change, And this goes for anybody, right? Even if when you're entering maintenance, you have to realize that there is a change going on, that you have to live this lifestyle, that the majority of people who stay fit and active do the same shit day in and day out. And more than likely, they are eating the same foods day in and day out. I remember back in 23, I was all about, I like variety and all this other stuff, right? But then, like, when I look back now, like, if I look back for maintenance, I'm having the same pre workout meal every day. Even like you guys just saw me eating my oatmeal. I don't have an apple because they're not in season. So now it's bananas and strawberries, but it's oatmeal every fucking day. I have my yogurt with my brownie every fucking day. Like, it might deviate on the weekends and everything, because then, like, I'll fit in a steak, once a week, or have ground beef and stuff like that. But mostly it's fucking chicken, and it's amazing, like, how your mindset just has to change, right? You have to get into that mentality of, I want to change. I can't go back to where I was. I have to keep moving forward. And then maintenance is more about not becoming, what was it last week? You're
complacent.
comfortable but not complacent, right?
Yes.
So I think a lot of times, a lot of, like, back in the past, like when we lost weight, we were probably complacent, right?
Mhm.
We were figuring that there is an end goal, like end of 12 weeks, or I got down to that one number, like 170 or whatever it was, and now I can go back to eating the way that I was before, and I could stop exercising. And that's not the case. So, like, a lot of times people fall out of maintenance only because there's not that dopamine hit of a whoosh on the scale or something like that. Your dopamine hits come from non-scale victories, I would say.
Yes.
A little bit might come from the scale, because, like, eventually your number is going to drop a little bit. Like, as you're dropping body fat and maybe you stopped gaining muscle, but you're starting to drop more body fat, you're going to see that change on the scale,
Right.
right? But it's not that hit of, you did something, you did something. You're going to have to look in the mirror a lot. Take those fucking selfies, take the pictures so that you can see where you're at and compare it to, like, a year ago. I love doing that. Like, whenever my Facebook posts come up and it's like 4 years ago today, and, like, I see my face and I'm like, oh my God, that was 4 years ago. That was like nothing,
Yeah.
like literally nothing.
It goes so fast. I mean, people, we're already 6 months into this year,
Yeah.
and so it
And, like,
it goes
what are
by
you doing?
fast. Well, and you were making the comment about, that it's the same thing day in and day out. Well, guess what? Our shit life was too. So day in,
Yes.
day out, we drank too much, we ate too much, we ate the same
Yes.
things. It's
Yes.
not like it's new. It was
Preach.
McDonald's drive-through for a cheeseburger. It was
Yep.
stopping to get Mexican food
Wondering why you
4
felt like
times a
shit
week,
because you're
yeah,
eating fucking shift food and
and
everything?
drinking way
Yeah,
too much, and so
way
and
too
then,
much.
wiping out a bag of chips. It was the same stuff. So
Yes.
the unhealthy life was the Groundhog Day. Healthy life is a Groundhog Day. It's the same. It's the stuff you
And, like, you
gravitate
can
to.
merge them. Like,
Yeah,
sometimes they have to merge because, like, you have those special occasions, and you'll always hear the people on social media be like, "It's only one day." But that's the caveat, though, right? It's one day. Do
yeah,
not turn it into a week
or a month,
or a
or a
month,
year.
right? Don't
Yeah,
wait until Monday, right? Have that celebration, and then you fucking move on. And we're not
mhm.
talking, like, just one meal out of the whole day for the celebration. No, fucking eat whatever you want, but you need to get back to it, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah, and chances are you're gonna feel crappy the next day if you do, but, that's something that's kind of like that
Yeah, right.
reminder, like, "That's why I don't eat like this anymore," and I felt like we say all the time, "That's how I always felt. I felt like this
That's how I always
24/7,
felt.
and
Or
now
you're
I
just
don't."
dealing with the guilt,
Yeah.
right? If you're dealing with the guilt of having eaten all that and stuff. I think sometimes that there's a fine line too, especially like, I don't know if we've had EDs, like eating disorders and stuff. I think our relationship with food definitely should change.
Mhm.
You have to change it within yourself and identify what it is for you, right? Like, a lot of people are throwing around the fucking term food noise, right? And the
Right.
GLP-1s help it and everything. You need to read up on that and identify what is food noise. Like, I know for me, if I am eating breakfast, I'm thinking about dinner, not because I'm hungry for it, but because I'm trying to pre-plan it in my day and I need to know if I have to defrost something, right?
Right.
So that's why I'm thinking about it. Whereas food noise is thinking about, hey, I'm already thinking about the next meal even though I'm eating this meal, from what I understand of it. I notice for me, it's my bad habit of stress eating. So like some people get stressed and they don't eat. I definitely stress eat. Like, if something like ticks me off or whatever, I'm looking for chocolate.
Right.
And so I recognize that and that's when I have to stop. But sometimes I give into it, especially during, shark or whatnot. But then sometimes I'm just like, no, I'm good.
Yeah.
I can outride that. So like even like this week, like I'm a week out from shark. I already see me leaning into the carbs and stuff like that. This past weekend has been a lot. Like Friday I was supposed to do my back workout. Didn't get it done. I was on the phone all morning with family because my brother's in the hospital. So,
Mm.
but then like I just going like, we were planning on, he just turned 40 this past week and he spent his birthday in the hospital. So like we all went up there with pizza and stuff because he was supposed to go out for his dinner to a Mexican restaurant, ironically, but we couldn't bring that up, so we brought the pizza instead. That's his favorite, but like it was all carbs on Friday. You know what I
Right.
mean? And then Saturday, which was yesterday, I had my steak and stuff. I logged all my food. For some reason, I started leaning into like because I had gotten him cannolis and we had extra. So like I had half a cannoli. I had some, we had a s'mores because, there was a fire going on. So yeah, like, I definitely I tend to carb up on the weekends and I recognize that too.
Right.
Hence, my scale jumping up the way it does.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah, but like I think if you're in a fat loss phase though, that can definitely fuck with your head if you do that. And I know it did for me for a long time. So like when I was losing the weight, I would totally carb up on the weekends. Like I don't know what it was. I would just start eating a whole bunch more stuff and then the scale would jump up 5 pounds. And like Rochelle would always be like, why does it jump up so high? Probably because of all the fucking carbs I eat. So it would
Right?
jump up 5 pounds. I would work all week to get it back down just to go back up again. It was like a fucking emotional roller coaster. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, and that's the thing. Like, if you don't track your food or like actually recognize what you're fucking doing, you start thinking, what am I doing wrong? What is wrong with my body? No, bitch, fucking just stop eating. Like it's
It's an
okay.
issue. You were
Hmm.
talking about the food noise. That is something I used to have. I would be thinking about every meal. I would be thinking about the snacks. Like if we had something in the cupboard that I wanted, I would just be staring at the clock,
So,
waiting until it was an appropriate time to eat it. I
like,
mean,
I
all the
shouldn't have it
time.
right
Uh
now.
huh.
I
I
just say
would,
something. I shouldn't have it right now.
yeah. I
But then
and
what?
wait.
What if you just gave into it?
Then I'd
Would you
eat the
binge
whole.
it?
I'd Oh fuck yeah, oh yeah,
Okay.
100%, hundred
So is
percent.
food noise related to binge eating?
I don't know,
I don't
maybe.
know.
I mean, I think that for some people, like, Brian's mom, for example, she has that. That's all she thinks about. "What did you eat today? What are we having for lunch?" When you go over there, that's all she talks
Yeah.
about. What she and but that's how she's always been. It's food and what who made what and who brought what in and
I wonder
what's
if
she
that's a
gonna eat
generation thing
next.
because my mom does the same thing.
Really? Maybe, maybe.
I don't
Or you
know,
get
like
to a
or,
certain
like, is
point,
it
that's all that you have to live for is some food. I don't
or
wanna
look
get
forward
there.
to, right?
I know I don't want that. No, thank you.
I don't want that either. Like, I'd rather, like, you tell me, like, "Hey, let's go out for a walk," or something like that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Look forward to doing stuff, but
Yeah.
yeah. So, anyway, it's not easy, and it's a mental game when you've grown up and I feel like every generation has grown up with some screwed up stuff when it comes to food, but,
Yeah.
our generation was definitely we've gone through the fat-free and the sugar-free and the be
Tasting
skinny
like
and the
cardboard shit. Hi.
yep, and then the not and then the Olean, remember that with everybody getting
Oh
diarrhea?
my god. Yes. It could
So
cause anal
right?
leakage. That was the best fucking warning.
God, right? You think? I never
Anal
ate it,
leakage.
but
Th
it just,
they would never
it's
post that now.
all the stuff and diet pills. Oh my god, there were so many diet
Fen-Phen.
pills in the
Yes.
'90s. It was crazy.
They
So,
still have them now. I mean, like, fuck.
yeah, it's
Semaglutide, hi.
right?
But it actually works,
Yeah,
to your benefit and everything. Like, I was
yeah,
talking to my daughter about it. I'm like, "Is this something that you wanna consider?"
right.
And I have my own qualms about I mean, like, she was vaccinated, and everybody's like, "Oh, don't get the vaccine," and shit like that, and then here you are sticking yourself with all these peptides that haven't been fucking tested or anything, but go
Right.
ahead. You do
Yeah.
you.
Right.
But, like, for her, like, I'm just like, "Okay, is it a matter of" I don't know, like, because she might have PCOS. I Googled it. It said, yes, it could help that, and, like, bring down the hormones because, like, obviously estrogen is being stored in fat cells,
Mhm.
so that can help things. I'll have to look into it because, like, our work, like Sam had mentioned on previous podcast, we have a program. I don't know if it's for family members as well or if it's just for the individual person. So
Yeah,
I'll
look
have
into
to look
that.
into it. But I mean, like, it's scary thinking about like sticking yourself. I don't know with a needle
Yes.
weekly. I don't know. Like, I
Well,
mean, I
my
got tattoos and shit, but it's someone else is doing that to me. I don't know.
right, you're not doing it to yourself. Well, I think, for a lot of people, it does make sense. I think a lot of people, once they can get some of the weight off, and I'm talking about really obese people. I'm not talking about the movie stars that are doing it to lose 10 pounds. This is ridiculous. They
Right.
look like skeletons.
Yeah.
But the people who are really obese and who have difficulty moving due to, the weight and maybe, I have a client that she's type 2 diabetic, so, it made sense for her, but she ended up it screwed up her blood sugar so bad she went off of it because it was messing her numbers were all over the place. They could not regulate it. She was seeing a doctor for it and they could not regulate it. So, I think it depends on the individual. If they are not motivated to move because of their size, maybe getting some of that weight off will help motivate them to move. But that's the
Yes.
tricky part. That's where I kind of draw my mental, judgmental line, I guess you'll say, is if you're going to take it, you have got to move your ass. You've got to lift weights. You have to.
You gotta lift
And
weights.
so it
Yep.
can't be I'm going to do this and just get the weight off and then I'll lift. No, 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 no. You start now. So you're taking it and maybe you don't do a whole lot of, knee weight bearing stuff, but you can, use some dumbbells. You can, get on a
Do some
bicycle
chair
and,
cardio.
whatever. You got to do something to start keeping,
And you start
maintaining some muscle. You know what I mean?
and you gotta definitely lift weights. Like, the person who came over last night is very adamant about not wanting to work out. And I'm like, just throwing this out there. I was like, you've been losing muscle since your 30s.
Hmm.
So no better
Yeah.
time than the present. Fucking I don't care if you say that you can't do it. That's a mental issue right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
Okay. And like I said before, you have to be in that mind space that you've had enough. Like, what is that I think it was Network where he's like, "I'm mad as hell and I'm not gonna take it anymore," right? You have to be at that fucking level of, "I've had enough. What do I need to do?" right? And sometimes you backslide, because then it gets hard. It's mentally draining when you're trying to lose weight, especially like, if you're losing a lot of weight, it's fucking draining because like you almost want that instant gratification of, oh my God, fucking when is this phase over? And then you get to maintenance and you're like, fuck, it's never over, right?
Right.
Like I don't have that fucking, I don't have the roller coaster anymore. Now it's just like I'm coasting.
Yeah. And it's like you've said a million times, it's boring. It's
It
boring.
can get
It's
boring.
like,
Yeah.
so there's a gazillion exercises out there. The only reason it gets boring for us, which I agree 100% that because you get used to doing the same 10 exercises, but there's so many
Well,
more you
and
can do. And then that's
yeah,
not
like
so boring.
yeah, I appreciate the DLB workouts for that reason because it changes. Like, so she's working the muscle groups, but she changes the muscles and I don't even remember the fucking word, but basically, like sometimes it's 90-second rest and sometimes it's 2-minute rest on the strength moves. Usually it's 60-second rest. And like, yes, there's like a whole bunch of science in between all that other shit. I just know that what I thought wasn't going to work for me because I used to lift so heavy, and I'm going to use quote. I'm saying heavy because it's relative to me. But my workouts used to take fucking hour and a half to 2 hours because on every set I was waiting 2 minutes, even though I felt rested. So it all depends on you. And women actually recover faster than men. That's definitely known and that's science. So like on some exercises, I totally could have waited 90 seconds, but because I wasn't maybe lifting heavy enough, I could have waited even shorter. Right. So like now I'm starting to like you get acclimated to these workouts and stuff and it changes. Like I totally missed my back day on Friday. I'm feeling some kind of way about it. So yesterday I did my leg day. So cuz then it's only 4 workouts in the week because I'm not doing 6 anymore. It's 5. So I'm not moving because like I wrote out my whole calendar for the 3 months. So it's totally skipped for this week. I moved on to leg day, which was yesterday. But then I was in because like I take a selfie. I always post it on my, Instagram stories on Sparkle Girl or whatever. And then I noticed my fucking back because I was sweating at this point. It was hot in the basement. And I'm like, holy shit. And I'm like, like I took a picture. I'm like, when it's leg day, but you notice that your shoulders are fucking killing it, right? So it's like going back to what you said, those little things that you start seeing
Mhm.
in maintenance, those are your new goals,
Yes.
right? Like that's what
Hey.
you're working towards now. It's just like, oh shit, fucking my recomp is working or something like that, you
Yes.
know?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's what you have to appreciate. Yesterday, Brian and I were at the gym and they have some new machines. One's called the Booty Builder, which is basically a deadlift machine or a Bulgarian split squat. So we didn't have a whole lot of weight on it because it's a whole different feel. We're used to doing supported one hand dumbbell
Yep.
Bulgarians, and we take it to the
Yeah.
floor, knee touches, but it's very uncomfortable to your foot because your foot's up on a bench behind
Yes.
you. And so
I
Brian
agree.
actually has to torque. It's all crooked, and I'm always riding him because I'm like, dude, your foot's over here, your knee's over here. How does that feel okay? But it's the only
Yeah.
way he can do it on the one leg. Well, on this machine, you're wrapping it's kinda like a pad, like a circle pad, like extension pad sorta thing,
Yeah.
and you're standing away from it, so your foot's just kinda hanging on it, which is cool. But you're using a stable machine, so you're holding like that with both
Uh-huh.
hands facing away, and we had 20 pounds on it. That's it. Both hands, you're coming down. I got down about that far. I couldn't even go there was no way I was going all the way to the floor. But what it does is it helps you feel more stable. You're not as wobbly, right?
Uh-huh.
Because you're holding something stable, but it's pulling you at any rate. So here we are
Okay.
working legs and glute. And all I notice on Brian is how absolutely ripped his arms look. I mean, they
I
are
fucking love that. Like, I'm
veins.
looking in the mirror. Yes, I
Yes.
totally get the same thing. I'm like, oh, I
Yes.
see striations right here.
Yes, that
Yes.
was it. I was like,
Yep.
"Dude," I said, "I know you're working your legs right now, but holy shit, your arms
Mhm.
look really good." I mean, it's just like,
Yep.
so
Yep.
anyhow, but so then I'm
That's
thinking,
the shit that you start noticing.
yes, yes, it's crazy. I know we were, I can't even remember what we did, front, delt raises yesterday,
Yeah.
and I was
Oh,
like,
those kill.
yeah, it's interesting. When you start to get a tan, and then you can really see the muscle
Yes.
definition, and like, oh, There it is, yay, and then you get super excited because
Yes.
you see those changes, and I'm like, walking up the hill with the dogs now, like, "Alright,
Nothing.
I'm good,
Right.
I'm
Yeah,
good."
like when I was doing the gorge hike or whatever, like we're climbing over rocks and stuff, and like before, like especially like when I had the meniscus thing going on, or when I had more weight on me, like that was a chore, you know.
Right?
Now I'm just like do 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 do, you know, and but now I picture my Bulgarians doing those, for instance,
Yeah.
of me climbing the rock, you know, like so when
Yes.
I'm going down and using my leg muscle as opposed to I don't want to say like relying on your knee because you're not supposed to, but like you work different muscles. Like it's
Mhm.
it's it's a weird thing. Like, and maybe you can get into that, but you engage certain muscles, and that's what you need to feel as opposed to relying on your knee, which is a joint,
Right.
to actually get up and up the stairs, for instance, or up a rock and all this other stuff. So I I saw a reel because, like, I know you work out at home, and I agree with the foot comment. So, like, I usually put my foot on the bench, which tends to be high, and then, like, just because, like, my foot will start to cramp for whatever
Mhm.
reason because it's just hitting it a certain way. So, if you have a cage, which is a power rack or whatever, it says put the barbell on like one of the lower settings and put they call it a sissy pad or whatever, but like it's the pad that goes around the barbell. You're supposed to use it for squats, but I never
Yeah.
use it for squats. I use it for my hip thrusts. So put that on there, and then that's what you put your foot on.
We've
So you
tried
step
that.
into the cage. Yeah.
Yeah,
So like
we've
I haven't
tried that.
tried it. I didn't want to fuck around with it because like I was running out of time. But like I want to try that only because then it's like a little bit lower, and then or you could set the height, right? Because like a bench is like whatever it is, and then like if you can go a little lower, it might help it because I am totally one for holding on and maintaining my balance. I don't need to, this is not my balance test. You know what I mean? Like I'm holding on because I had the dumbbell in my other hand. So,
Well, and you can. Brett Contreras, who is the glute guy god, he's like,
yes,
"Hold on. It
hold
doesn't
on.
matter.
Hmm.
This is a glute workout. You can 100% hold on or a quad depending on how you position your body." But yeah, we're the same way. We tried the pad, but it spins. So he does this whole contraption where he takes a resistance band and he wraps it around it to get it to not spin. Plus, our machine locks at a certain lowering level, so it's still a little high. Like, you can't go any
Okay.
lower than that, and
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's still really high for the angle, and then you end up putting a lot of stretch on the back leg
Okay.
because of the
Yeah.
positioning,
So,
right?
like I,
Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet myself, but like I thought it was an interesting notion, and I'm just like, I want
Very
to try
much
it.
so,
Yeah.
yeah. No, and we did. I mean, I ordered a pad for it because we didn't have one, and I ended up sending it back because 'cause I'm like, "Yeah, we're not gonna use this. It's not
Yeah.
working for
Yeah.
me." So, yeah, so now we have that at the gym as an addition. There's some really good glute building machines now out there. So,
Cool.
I like the hip thrust machine too, but god, that belt just digs into my hip bones. I told Brian, I said, "I have hip bones. I can feel 'em and I can see them, and they're there, and I never could before." So well, I mean,
And,
10,
like, I'm
12
proud of
years
it, but
ago.
then I need my yoga mat. Like,
I
I've
know.
seen people put the yoga mat into there.
That's a good idea. I should just start
Yeah,
taking like a towel or something to put it because
a
holy
towel.
crap, it's a
Yep.
great exercise, but the whole time I'm like, I'm stopping because my hip bones are like, "Bitch,
Yeah.
what up?" Anyway,
Usually it's like, like, that's what they say, like, get the lifting, straps because a lot of times your grip is fucking like, and I don't know, sometimes it's not my grip, it's the fucking calluses that are
yes.
giving up, you know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Yep.
Calluses are fucking real, and, like, they just fucking they hit a certain way. I
Yeah,
don't know.
I
Like,
agree.
mine are getting worse.
I need a new pair of gloves. I need to have a pair of gloves I keep in the car for when we go to the gym, so I'm not taking them with me
I need
every
to wear
single
mine
time.
consistently. That's what
God,
I need to
yeah.
do.
Oh, I can't stand it now without them. But anyway.
Yeah.
Well, so you have a new schedule, so we're gonna go ahead and cut it shorter
Yeah.
today, but, anyway, yeah, so guys, just be patient, it's worth it. It's worth it to wait for it and not be rushed and to feel frustrated after, 4 minutes of not seeing exactly what you wanna see. It will
4
come with
minutes.
time, with what's the big C word? Consistency. And so, with consistency and patience with yourself, you will see changes. Period. But
Yes.
you have to be consistent with your strength training mainly and with your nutrition. You've got to be. If you're not, if you're all over the place and you're willy-nilly and you're just throwing a dart at the board and hoping for the best, it ain't gonna work. It
No.
ain't gonna work, and we saw
Especially
real.
when you keep throwing different darts at the board
Right, you're trying
and,
way
like,
too
you don't
many
know where
things.
you're trying to hit
Yeah.
that bullseye, but, like, you're hitting all the fucking ones around it,
Yes,
you know?
yes,
Mhm.
and we were Shauna shared with me the other day, and I'll put it in the show notes. She's a nutritionist and strength and a coach, also has an Instagram page, and she was saying, "Okay, so you're doing all the things, and you're tracking your food,
Yeah.
but you're not getting the results you want." She's like, "So you need to start weighing. Try that first. And then if you're weighing your food, but you're not weighing the little licks, tastes, and bites throughout the day, then start with that." So she's like, something, if you're not seeing the results you want, you're not doing all the things like you say you are. There's something in there that you're telling yourself some bullshit story that you are doing it, but you're not. Trust me, because that was me. I was
Yeah.
100% doing that shit. So,
It still is me, like, if you don't track that little piece of candy, for instance,
yes.
and you have 3 of them, you're like, "That's 120 calories."
Yeah.
Like, so if if your range is a certain thing or whatever, or if you're trying to be in a deficit, then that can totally explain where that's going. Or even like last year, like when I was saying with the ice cream and stuff, like you don't think about it at the time, but like that once a week ice cream adds up a lot. And especially like the serving sizes when you go out are ridiculous. Like, you might be tracking it at like, let's say 2/3 of a cup or whatever, but it's more like a cup and a
Uh-huh.
quarter
Yeah,
of ice
easy.
cream, which is full fucking fat. So
Yeah.
it's just like, okay, like, you're lying to yourself right now. And guilty, fucking, I do it. I still fucking catch myself doing it. So we're not trying to, shame or anything like that. We're just saying you need to learn to recognize it in yourself.
Yeah.
And like,
Because over
I love
time,
that reel when I sent that to you
it
because
was
like,
so
it
good.
was just like, maybe you need to like, the common denominator here basically is not the food, it's you.
Yes. That's exactly what she's saying. It's like, and that can be the case in your workouts. Are you recovering enough? Are
Yes.
you sleeping enough? Are you getting enough strength training in? So you did your workout. Did you really push yourself?
Did
Is
you
the
push
work
yourself? That
is the
was,
workout
yeah,
appropriate for you? Are you doing too much hit and not enough just regular strength training where
right.
you're working and focusing on that load and moving it safely and effectively? There's so many things that you can look at and say, "Okay, this is why. This is why this isn't moving." And like you just said perfectly, it's those little bits of things when you think about them, like, I'll go in and break off a little chunk of dark chocolate, and then I'll break off another one, and then I look at the bar, and I go, "Okay, there's 2/3 of a bar left, so that was a third," but then a little while later, I break off another. By the end of the day, I've eaten the whole bar, but there's been times that I didn't put that in. Well, that's another 80 calories than
Yeah.
what I
That
started
that's
with.
even more than that. Yeah, like
Uh-huh.
a bar of like I looked at we got the s'mores things yesterday. So a bar of Hershey's is 210 calories.
Damn. Yeah.
You're using half a bar on your s'more,
Yeah.
just so you know.
Right.
Like so like that's the biggest thing there. Like the marshmallows like what, 20 calories, the honey graham is about maybe 65, something like that.
Yeah.
So it's just like make
Yep.
sure
So
you
you're
log it.
at
Like it's not
yeah.
just a little third of it, it's the fucking bar.
Yeah. So by then you're at 200 calories, right?
Yeah.
Or so if you're using the half of the bar. But yeah, so it's those little, and like you said last year, I remember this. You're like, I'm not logging. Now you were also in maintenance, so I'm going to preface with that. But you
Okay.
weren't logging the vegetables and stuff like that all the time. You know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I'm not worried about the onions and the peppers and all that
I
stuff.
still don't.
Right, but you're in maintenance. But if somebody was in weight loss and they're like, "I'm not counting the vegetables," because maybe they've done Weight Watchers and they're like, "It's free." No, if at the end of the day, you're either in so if your deficit, let's say, is 1,700, let's just use that as the example, and at the end of the day, you hit 1,700, but you didn't log in any of the vegetables that you ate, guess what? You're probably closer to 1850. So then when you're at
Alright, I'm gonna argue that.
depending,
This is
depending,
yeah, it
right?
depends on the vegetable, right?
Right.
Because
Not all of
I
them are
don't log
5,
those.
you
So
know?
I'll preface it with this though. So a lot of times I still will not log my onions and peppers because it's more about the oil that I used in it. And Rochelle will get on me this on the time, right? Because I usually like, let's say I'll use a tablespoon, but like I have a shit ton of vegetables that I'm fucking oven roasting or whatever. And I'll use like a tablespoon of fucking oil. Now, I don't count the oil. And usually, like if I'm marinating chicken, I don't fucking count the marinade either because it's not like I'm pouring it on there. If anything, it's dripping off and then I'm grilling it. So a lot of it's burning off. So no, I don't count that either. However, to your point, if you have to get into the minutia of where those extra calories are coming from and you swear that you're logging everything, start looking at the creamer in your coffee. Start looking at the marinades, right? You know,
Mhm.
Mark, who's been on the podcast, he fucking logs that teaspoon of fucking garlic powder that he fucking used
Right.
because he wants to know where his shit's coming from. And like, you know, he'll weigh the Pam spray and stuff like that because he knows like his body's going to react a certain way. You know what I mean? And like, yeah, so like last weekend I had the fucking rice. I totally blame rice for my fucking bloating and my 5 pounds off.
There you
That
go. It's that
rice is
damn
the
rice.
fucking, it is
It
because
is.
I usually don't eat it.
It's not my thing. But no, the point being, like, if you're at that point and you feel like you've logged everything and you're not losing, you need to go ahead and log the veg. Just because. You don't
Because
have
of
to
the
if you're in
carbs.
maintenance because of the carbs, but also that could be an extra 100 calories easily, depending on
Yeah.
what you're eating. If you're
But then,
mowing
like,
on
isn't it
carrots all day and you're adding in
but
peppers and
carrots are
onions,
different than the other ones. Like,
but
so carrots,
but
I would say, are
yeah,
different. You
they
like,
are for you. I'm saying that I'm using you as the example, but a lot of
no,
people,
exactly. But
like,
like
wouldn't
that's what I'm
count
saying. Like
that.
the carrots are like a starchy carb as opposed to a fibrous carb, which is going to move through your system differently. Now, I think a lot of times if you're tracking your food, and I know this can be a whole fucking separate episode, so like maybe this will be a continue next week.
Yeah, no
If
joke.
you are, you know, if you're tracking your food, it allows you to see how your body is reacting to things.
Mm,
Okay. And that's, I think, one of the major components right there, right? Because, like, if you're logging your food accurately, and let's fucking preface it with that too, you can see how your body is changing for the good or the bad. You
right,
know what I mean?
right.
Mark knows rice bloats him. I saw it firsthand this fucking past week, you know?
Yeah.
And like Rochelle's like, it wasn't the birthday cake or anything. I'm like, I mean, yes, that's part of it. But like, considering I never eat fucking rice, but I will have desserts and stuff. Yeah, I'm going to say that fucking rice, fuck that shit.
Well, and there was probably a lot of salt in that too. I mean, anytime
Yeah,
you're
it
dining
definitely
out and
tasted
rice,
salty.
it's
Yeah,
got salt, it's got
I don't like
MSG,
it.
it's got all that
I
stuff
just
in
don't
it
like
to give it
rice.
some more flavor. So I'm sure. Anyway, all right, so a different
Yeah,
tangent. So look at the big picture. What are you doing? What are you not doing? You're not seeing the results. Something's got to give. And don't give up. Be patient. Don't give up. It's so
yes,
worth it. It is so worth it to feel better. But if your ultimate goal is to look better, then it's worth it to be patient. It ain't going to happen
yes,
overnight. It's going to take months or years. But what do you have to lose? Nothing other than, fat. So,
right.
anyhow, all right, guys, well, have a great week. And Shauna, have a great week. And we will see
Thank you
you
too.
guys next time around. Bye.
Bye.